Chapter 769, The Leader of the Wife Doting Club. Of course, after watching the first 2 episodes, everyone had the same questions. How did Moting know how to act when he had never stepped foot into this part of the industry? He was like a hidden expert, capable of doing anything that an average person did not dare to do. Some people were completely puzzled, whereas some easily found the answer. There was no other reason than to say that Moting was a genius. All of a sudden, the entire Beijing were talking about the forensic concubine and the plot as they searched for resources and began buying things related to it. On the other hand, a concubine Ning finished airing without anyone paying much attention to it. This was the result of the so-called International Best Actress. It was rare to see a drama being crushed to this extent. Originally, Beiyu wouldn't have ended up with this fate. Unfortunately, she offended Moting and tried to scheme against Tang Ning. So, it was reasonable for Moting to make things difficult for her. Of course, even though Beiyu's drama became a flop, it didn't mean that she had reached a dead end. After all, her kind image still existed. As long as she maintained this image, she still had a chance to make a comeback. All the best jobs have been recently taken by other big names. It seems, when selecting celebrities from the same price range, organizers are no longer taking us into consideration. Should we? Are you expecting me to lower my expectations? If I do that, would I still be the international best actress? Beiyu yelled angrily. In that case, have a look at this job. The assistant nervously handed Beiyu some information. They had already reached this point, yet she still had to put up a front. Her drama failed beyond belief and had turned into a complete joke. How could she still be so proud? Beiyu received the information from her assistant's hands and glared at her as she threw it on the ground. Are you asking me to join a reality show like a rookie? Sorry Yuji, I'll immediately take it away. As she watched her assistant pick up the information from the floor, she quickly stopped her. Wait, it might be worth a try. Selling herb was her specialty. The assistant handed her the information once again. After Beiyu looked at it, she agreed to attend a reality program called A One Day, One Night. Most of the reality shows these days were copyrights purchased from South Korea. Not many of them came from original ideas, but it couldn't be denied that it was a quick and easy way to gain popularity. After all, a Hayek was always popular. But, to Beiyu's surprise, Wang Fushuo also ended up joining this television program. In fact, he was appearing on the same episode as her. Didn't Wang Fushuo never attend variety shows? Yuji, why don't we find an excuse not to go? After hearing her assistant's suggestion, she glared at her. She was currently at a slump in her career. If she recklessly rejected this job, would any variety show invite her again? I'm going on it. But, she wanted to know why Wang Fushuo had decided to do this. So, before the program began filming, Beiyu went to look for Wang Fushuo in private. Did you go on this show because of me? Wang Fushuo stood in his doorway without inviting Beiyu in as he replied in a calm, leisurely tone, Miss Bei, did you know that you are thinking too highly of yourself? I am just a B-list actor. Attending programs like this are natural for me. What about you? An international best actress is actually devaluing herself like this. Did you know that the difference between you and Tang Ning is becoming more and more apparent? Beiyu was rendered speechless, because Wang Fushuo's every word struck her where it hurt. Shuo, can you not side with Tang Ning? I'm not siding with anyone. Wang Fushuo crossed his arms. I'm waiting for you to turn the tables. Don't disappoint me, Miss Bei. You must be happy to see me heading down this steep slope. Why wouldn't I be? Wang Fushuo replied naturally. I'm sorry, Miss Bei, I think it's best if we see each other on the program. I'm afraid that if the reporters capture a photo of us, I won't be able to clarify myself. After all, my popularity has been on the rise because of the forensic concubine. Beiyu held back her tears as she turned around and left. But, even so, Wang Fushuo did not feel an ounce of sympathy for her. He understood her too well. She had no sincerity whatsoever, because her speciality was lying to herself. So, They were attending a program together. Wang Fushuo sneered. It was true that he was attending the program because of Beiyu. He had previously said that he was going to tear off Beiyu's mask before the forensic concubine did anything. And the time was now right. It was time to watch a good show. I heard that Beiyu is attending a variety show, Tangning said to Mo Ting while she fed Gogo after dinner. Why is she doing something so devaluing? The only reason she has survived in this industry is because of her petty tricks. How smart at decision making did you expect her to be? Mo Ting asked. Either way, there are a few encounters on the way. Mo Ting did not continue, but Tangning already understood the extra layer of meaning to his words. Whether it was Wang Fushuo's revenge or Bai Linlun and her husband's affair, both these instances were about to tear Beiyu apart. The couple did not converse anymore. They simply placed their energy upon their two babies. As she looked at her two cute sons, Tangning couldn't help but pinch Tang Tang's cheek. Gogo always cried, so she couldn't provoke him. But, the most hilarious thing was, as Tang Tang lay in his father's embrace, he ended up peeing all over Daddy Tang's pants. Bah. Now that the two rascals were 7 months old, they were beginning to mumble random words, and Tang Tang was especially talkative when he was happy. After drawing a map on his father's body, with P, he was so happy that he was yelling loudly. Tangning couldn't help but laugh at this scene. Hurry and have a bath. Mo Ting placed a gentle kiss on his son's head before returning him to his crib. He actually enjoyed it when the two rascals did something cheeky in his arms. As a father, there was nothing more heartwarming than this. The next day, Mo Ting went to work as usual. However, just as he stepped out of his car, he was immediately surrounded by reporters. It seemed, it was time to replace the security for the underground parking lot. President Mo, are you planning to pursue a career in acting? President Mo, will you be changing the focus of your work? President Mo, after the forensic concubine, will you have any other projects? President Mo, everyone is curious about your acting. Can you share with us the training you undertook? I don't think it's necessary to share the details of my work. However, I must say that, the thing I enjoy the most is staying at home and being a father. Mo Ting shut the reporters up effortlessly. As a result, a new rumor started to circulate. Mo Ting only participated in the forensic concubine because of Tangning. After all, he was the leader of the wife doting club. Chapter 770. Are you interested in exposing her? To Mo Ting, participating in the forensic concubine was as easy as buying a bunch of vegetables. It wasn't as complicated as the public thought and didn't require any careful thinking. It was simply something he could do. During this time, it was normal that Mo Ting kept a low profile, but even Tangning kept an unusually low profile. As the drama was produced by their own agency, apart from necessary promotions, Mo Ting did not organize any other events. After all, the viewership ratings were already high and Tangning had already fulfilled her responsibility as an actress. Now, Mo Ting only had one path for Tangning: to film when there was something to film and to keep a low profile when there was nothing to film. It seemed like he wanted to tell everyone that only a good script had the ability to keep Tangning within the industry and that she lived to act. This further established Tangning's status as a top-grade actress that only acted in good productions. At this time, all Beiyu was thinking about was how to make a comeback. The One Day, One Night reality show was a program where 5 guests were placed on a deserted island and underwent activities for survival. They would be left with a code to call for help, but they would only be given 24 hours to figure it out. As long as the 5 guests successfully found all the hints on the island, they would receive keys to use on a car for escape and their mission would be considered a success. However, if they failed, they would have to undergo a challenge. This program had always had a decent viewership rating in Beijing. As the islands they visited were different every time, the audience got to see a variety of unique scenery. But, on top of this, they also got to witness different thrills and excitement. Soon, it was time to start filming the program. Apart from Beiyu and Wang Fushuo, there was also an old singer and a young couple he doted on. They weren't all from the entertainment industry. For example, The young couple were famous travelers that had traversed many foreign countries and had extensive experience in survival. The 5 people were placed on an unknown island with their bulky luggage. As the young couple were used to it, they did not struggle, even though the man couldn't help but carry his wife's luggage as well. As for Wang Fushuo, he ended up offering his help to the old singer, leaving Beiyu to fend for herself. But, amongst these people, only Wang Fushuo knew that Beiyu was a fake. So, to relieve her load, he knew she was going to put on an act. As expected, not long after they arrived on the island and everyone was having a rest, Beiyu expressed that she wasn't tired and offered to scope out the place for them. No one requested for her to do such a thing, but a few moments later a shrill scream could be heard coming from the forest. Everyone looked towards the noise and found Beiyu sitting on the floor holding onto her ankle. "Sorry, I don't want to drag you guys down. You can leave me here and continue without me." The old singer immediately turned to Wang Fushuo and said, "Carry her." Wang Fushuo shook his head. "My responsibility is to take care of you. Look, your body isn't well. If something happens to you, it will be a bigger burden on us." After the other young man heard what Wang Fushuo said, he immediately nodded his head. "He's right, why don't you let me carry you instead? How about this? Before the sky turns dark, we should get accustomed to everything on the island. So, why don't we let Beiyu rest here for now and we'll go scope out the island. We can return at a set time to pick her up. That way, we won't waste any time and energy," Wang Fushuo suggested. "I also think this is the best option," the young woman immediately said. "Beiyu, if we leave you here to rest, you won't be scared, will you?" Wang Fushuo asked. He knew, according to Beiyu's personality, she would never cause a scene in front of everyone. So, she simply acted like she was really understanding and said to everyone, "Okay, I'll wait for you here." "Who told me to be such a klutz?" "Cool, let's hurry and get moving then." After their discussion, the group of 4 advanced forward. Meanwhile, behind them, Beiyu's face burned red in anger. However, there was nothing she could do. After taking a few steps, the young married woman immediately approached Wang Fushuo and queried, "Do you dislike Beiyu? I can sense that she's good at putting on an act. I don't understand what an international best actress like her is doing here. I already can't stand her, yet she even tried to make my husband carry her. I bet she didn't want to walk, that's why she deliberately hurt her foot." A woman's intuition was especially accurate. Wang Fushuo smiled, suggestively admitting to the woman's guess. "So it's true? What a beach. I hate people that are fake." "In that case, are you interested in exposing her?" The young woman did not say a word, but the 2 people understood each other. The good thing about this program was, after 12 hours, the guests had a chance to eliminate anyone that was a burden. Of course, up until this point, no team had ever given up on one of their teammates. They all chose to take on the challenge. However, this time was going to be different. Before coming on the show, Beiyu deliberately watched a large number of the previous episodes and knew that no team had ever abandoned a teammate. That's why she agreed to join. But this time, she was wrong. Beiyu wasn't scared at the beginning because she was angry. But, after night hit and her vision became blurry, she finally felt her palms get sweaty. She couldn't believe that her teammates had left her there for a few hours without checking on her. Of course, Wang Fushuo and the others weren't going to go too far. So, before Beiyu broke down, they returned and led her to the camp they had set up. They then started examining the hints they had found during the time when Beiyu wasn't around. Although Beiyu was present, she did not understand a thing they were saying and felt completely like an outsider. "Am I especially useless? All I've caused is trouble." "It's fine," the young woman smiled and replied. "You have no experience in this type of stuff, so we understand. But, my foot, you can continue resting tomorrow. Leave the hints for us to find. That way you won't have to worry about being a burden." After hearing this, Beiyu's expression lightened. Since her screen time was low today, she wasn't going to let go of the opportunity again. On the surface, it didn't seem like she had given a reply. But, after night hit, she began to put on her sympathy act. While everyone was sleeping, she pretended to practice walking outside, like she wanted to be a useful person that could help out. She was so fake. For the sake of herself she's quite ruthless. The young woman couldn't help but say to her husband, "I must give her full points for being able to act to this extent. If she doesn't want to sleep, it's her problem. How dare she keep everyone up?" What were the producers thinking when they invited this weirdo? The other guests were complaining because Bayu was cheering for herself loudly outside the tents. That's right, she was giving herself words of encouragement. She thought she was a great person.
Hit the like, thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for listening.